Hi boys and girls, Steve the Builder here. How are you? Glad to have you back in my workshop today. We've got lots of interesting things to talk about. Before I start, I'd like to thank a couple of folk. Levi for watching. I hear you watching and I know that you helped me a lot at preschool, so good. And Franklin and your little brother Arthur. Franklin, I did promise that you could use the vehicle the next day and we didn't get to do that, so I'll remember, I haven't forgotten. When we get back you'll be using the spinner car. Remember that one I brought along? So we look forward to that, and it's good to see that you're watching as well. So let's start off with this model here, which is of the Empire State Building in New York City. And it's a beautiful little model, and it's got a little switch on the side because it's a music box. And it's got this little car here that is like a yellow taxi, because there's lots of yellow taxis in New York. And I want to make it go, and you see what happens to the little car when it goes. It's amazing, isn't it? Drives all by itself, all around and around that the Empire State Building. And if I turn it off, it'll stop. Now, that's funny because there's nothing there to make it connect. Well, did that give you a clue? Do you remember my little car here and my stick? Do you remember how that worked? You were right, there was a magnet underneath, wasn't there? And the magnet was attracting that little paper clip. See that? So somewhere inside this music box here, there's a magnet going round and round the Empire State Building, and it's towing that little car around with it.
Would you be able to show us the magnet on the little car, Steve?
This one here.
Yes, where's the magnet?
Yeah, I just glued a little magnet on the end. I've got a big magnet on this end, just to see which one worked the best.
Oh, and there's the paper clip on the underside of that little car.
Yeah, it's just a metal paper clip.
Just the
This is a very, very, very powerful magnet, this one.
Oh.
You can see how powerful it is. It actually jumps the car off the ground. It's so powerful. So that's an interesting model, isn't it? I thought you'd be fascinated by that. Linda got that as a present given to her from New York. Isn't she lucky? Put it safely there, Linda. I'm a bit worried about it. Is it going to be okay? I think so. Right, let's have a look what I found in the cupboard. Could you believe it? This pad is a craft pad, and it dates back to when my two children were little like you, Sammy and Timmy. And look what it is. It's coloured craft paper. Aren't I lucky to have some? I thought I'd use some to give the Smurfs a coloured roof instead of having the brown paper ones. So I'm just going to make another roof for the Smurfs. I'm going to use the bowl, the breakfast bowl I used last time. Put it like so. And I'm going to go around the outside of it with my Vac Vivid. And you know, I think I could probably cut more than one piece of paper at a time. See, it's in a pad shape. Let's try it. Take that away. Here's my circle. Let's put the bowl over here. And let me just take a couple of pages out of this pad. All different colours in there. Look, there's even a bright pink one down the bottom somewhere. Beautiful colours. So I'm going to snip these two out together. Remember, when you use scissors, you leave them pointing away from yourself, and you just turn the item that you're cutting like so. In this case, I'm cutting two at once. Remember what I do when I get all the way around? I cut a little wedge shape out. I'm going to put that aside because we could use the spare bits for something else. I'll show you what later. Let's cut the wedge out of here.
It's a bit like a piece out of a pie, isn't it?
A little bit of piece of pie. Let me just take one of them. There's the other one underneath. Hard to see against the colour the same as itself. I'll move that one out of the road and make it clearer for you to see. Here we go. So remember we just put a wee bit of glue on here and made the roof like that. And then we cut around in and out to make it a bit crenulated, a bit wavy so that it'll look more like mushrooms in the reel. That makes a cone. So we'll do that later on. I don't need to carry on now because that'll use your time up. I want you to show you something else, which is very exciting. Over here, we have the bus about to depart into the tunnel. And look who's standing beside it. One of the Smurfs is standing beside it. And he's saying goodbye to the others. They're all aboard. And so they're going through the magic tunnel to the magic land to see what is in store for where their house is going to be. So say goodbye. Bye Smurfs. Off you go. Off they go into the tunnel. Now while they're going in there, I've got a book to show you just here called Little Gnome. This was my son Timmy's favourite book when he was a little boy. Little Gnome by Elizabeth Falconer. And look in here, you can see there he is. He's a cute wee fellow. My Timmy loved him. He used to say, I love that little guy. And guess what? He lives in the forest and he goes to visit his uncles who also live in the forest. It says, Little Gnome has come to visit his uncles. Look, there he is down the bottom here. Look, he's right there. He's waving at his uncle who's waving to him. One's waving from the bottom story and the other one's waving from the top story. They live in a tree in the forest. Cute story, this one. Hello, little gnome, says Uncle Og. Come inside, says Uncle Gog. These good little fella's going to go inside with them into their tree. That's a real tree house. That's one that's inside the tree. First, little gnome unpacks his bundle. He's got a little gnome himself. Look, a tiny wee gnome. He's got his pajamas on the bed, his dolly. And then next he helps Uncle Og put away some dishes. He's doing the dishes. He's a good fellow, isn't he? Helping with the dishes. Then Uncle Gog hangs the washing up to dry. And then Uncle Og chops wood for the fire. Uncle's busy getting ready for the night, I suppose. I want you to do some shopping for me, little gnome, says Uncle Og. But be sure to come straight back. He's a good boy. He's going to go and do some shopping. He's got a purse and a shopping basket. Cute little gnome, isn't he? What happens next? Let's have a look over the page. So, little gnome hurries through the woods to Mr. Mole's shop. He's got a friend who's going with him. A little lantern because it's getting dark. It's nearly bedtime, isn't it? Hello, little gnome, says Mr. Mole. What can I do for you? I need some things for Uncle Og, says little gnome. Gosh, he's cute. There's Mr. Mole's shop. He's got some bread and fruit, loaves and sorts of things in his shop, mushrooms as well. On the way home, he stops for a snack. Is he supposed to do that? And a chat with a friend. Little birdie's chatting away. goodness, it's late, says little Gnome. I'll give you a lift, says a passing rabbit. Look, little Gnome's on his back, so's the little mouse. I'm back, Uncle Og, calls little Gnome. I've got everything. He sets the table for supper with his uncle's best china. Uncle Og picks wild strawberries up for supper, and while Uncle Gog fries away some mushrooms. He's picking some strawberries here. Yum, it's going to be a lovely tea, isn't it, for little Gnome? Delicious mushrooms, Gog, says Uncle Og. Good fresh bread, Og, says Uncle Gog. Yum, says little Gnome. He loves his food. My Timmy loved his food too, didn't he, Linda?
It's good to eat lots of healthy food.
After supper, they stroll through the woods together. The sun is rising and the long night is over. But guess what happens in the daytime? Little Gnome goes to sleep. That's what gnomes do, don't they? They work in the night and they sleep in the day.
Maybe that's why they're not discovered.
That's why you don't see them around, isn't it? It's time for bed, and soon little Gnome is fast asleep. Look at him, he's got his little gnome in his hand.
His little friend's there too.
His friend's there, just
Be very quiet.
he's lucky, isn't he?
He's cuddling his little gnome toy.
He is.
It's nice to have something to cuddle when you go to bed.
See, look, he's got a different hat too when he goes to bed. He's got a bed hat. He's a lucky little gnome, isn't he? So what a story. Wonder if our friends have gone away in the bus, whether they've got a tree and some gnomes that live there too. It'd be interesting to know. We could go and visit them sometime. We'll have to see.
I see you've got a truck there with all the little houses, Steve.
Yeah, we've got, those are the first houses that are going to go. We can't take the truck through the tunnel, as I said to you yesterday, because that's too big. And we've got some other designs for houses over here they're going to do. Having a look. We thought, Linda had this idea that we could make a house out of a bottle like this. If I just snipped it off around here, then this would make a good house for gnomes or for Smurfs to live in. So let me just finish cutting this off. I started before. So that's going to make a good house, isn't it, Linda? It's such a good idea of yours. We could put this on as a chimney, or could even put the old gnome roof on. Not gnome, the Smurf roof, like so. Look, it's even got a space for the door to be here. That'd make a great house, wouldn't it? There's a lot more space in here.
Perhaps that could be for a whole family.
Could be the whole family, or a gnome family even. If we could find a gnome family in the garden, that'd be good. That's one idea. We could make one out of this. We could snip this down, or we could just leave it that high. It depends on how we go. Let's have a look what it looks like with a Smurf roof on it. How's that look, Linda? Do you think that's going to work?
Cool. Well, the boys and girls could use any containers they've got at home.
They could, so they don't have to use a toilet roll like I was using, do they?
No.
They
So
could
we
use
do
it.
have toilet rolls, I'm sure.
Yeah, but there's lots of different ideas, and if you can come up with new ideas, you could let me know. That's fantastic. So make some houses, and we'll look forward to seeing where our little friends the Smurfs end up going through that tunnel into Magic Land. We'll have to see where they've been. So until next time, be good for your parents, boys and girls. Bye-bye.